Rob
Rob
Font
Font.
versus Chito Vera. That was the main event. I was really excited for this one, and
Mhm.
very good reason because Chito Vera, man, has just been on a tear lately. Um, and Rob Font, he showed up very well against Cody Garbrandt as well. He has phenomenal boxing.
Mhm.
So I was just really curious to see, how Cheeto would do with this, what I consider to be a pretty big step up in competition. And
Yeah, because he stepped up and fought Aldo, right?
he
And,
did.
wasn't able to get it done. This is a pretty big step up too. Um, I thought Rob Font's 1-2 is so good, and Cheeto likes to shell up a lot, and I thought maybe he's just gonna get overwhelmed in this one and get stuck in that shell while
Mm,
Rob Font just continues his volume is fucking crazy.
it's
I mean,
nonstop,
his
man.
his output is nuts. The problem though is his volume and output is also his only defense.
Mm,
You know what I mean? Like his striking defense is like adequate. You know, his head movement is not that crazy. He doesn't shell up nearly as well as someone like Piotr Jan or even Chito Vera does. He doesn't shoulder roll stuff like Bobby Green. Like it's very basic in his defense, but I feel like he's never really had to evolve his defense because most of the time he's fighting, the other guy's defending because he's just constantly throwing his jab and his cross over and over and over again. Uh, so he's never, I feel like he hasn't really developed his defense because he's never really needed to.
hmm
And the past couple of fights, man, that's been kind of like exposed a little bit, you know? I mean, the guy just keeps winning 4 minutes of every round and then getting dropped. The last fight, too. His last fight was the same kind of deal, you know?
Yeah, man. With this fight here, the first round is how I thought the entire fight was probably going to go.
Bruce
Uh,
Bobtrotter says Rob Font will never be more than Comic Sans at this point. Maybe even took it back a step back to Creepster.
man,
So
well, see,
Font will
this
definitely
is,
never be Helvetica.
dude, I don't know those references,
They're
but
all fonts. It's fonts.
oh god, okay, all right, jeez. Dun-
Yeah.
Bruce Bobtrotter coming through. Hey, thanks for joining us, by the way, Bruce Bobtrotter.
Yeah.
But so with Rob Font, uh, that first round, we get to see his technical boxing, right?
Mhm.
And like you said, Marlon Vera was shelling up a lot, and
Mhm.
Rob Font was finding a home with that shovel hook, that
Yeah.
lead uppercut, kind of, that was
Yeah, it looked
getting through.
good.
He looked really good. And the only thing I thought was going to help out Chito Vera was I thought a lot of leg kicks because Rob Font's very
Mhm.
heavy on that front foot because he loves to jab a lot.
Yeah.
And he started working that kick up and started
Yep.
working it from the calf to the thigh. And then he started hitting them a lot, like to the body. And the thing with Rob Font's head movement is that it became very predictable. And he continued
Yeah, yeah.
leaning heavy,
Mhm.
low right. And then Cheeto started finding a home for that left shin on Rob Font's nose, forehead,
Yeah.
neck, because he kept on leaning heavy, low right.
Mhm.
Uh, and that's when he really started getting hurt, man. Like
Yeah.
Font peppered Vera with some shots, but Vera landed
Yeah.
some heavy head kicks.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same as I mean,
And the
what
knee,
the first round was clear Rob Font round, like you said. He would
clearly.
1-2 his way until Cheetos shelled up, and then once he was shelled, then he would throw that uppercut, and it was really good. But then the second round, same thing. Rob Font peppering for the entire round until he gets dropped, and then the third round, he's peppering him, eats the knee, gets dropped. Fourth round, he's lighting him up again. And credit to Rob Font, that dude's tough as nails, hard to put him out. And he keeps coming back. And the start of each round, he looks exactly the same. And then eats the hook kick or the side kick, drops
It was
him
a side
again. And
kick.
it's like, yeah. And then it's
Dude,
like,
right off the orbital.
yeah.
Like,
And I
it
mean,
was, yeah.
yeah, it was nasty. And now we're talking, was it a hook that dropped him the first time, a jumping knee that dropped him the second time, a side kick that dropped him the third time. Like Jesus Christ, man, what an arsenal! Um, and it sucks for Rob Font because he's the type of guy who's not gonna like put you out with the shot, but you can tell he's so overwhelming with his straight punches. But The same thing with was it the Aldo fight that he had recently,
Yeah.
where same thing. I mean, he just looks like he's running away with it, and then all of a sudden he gets cracked because he's, like you said, his defense becomes very predictable because he's not really showing many looks ever. It's
Mhm.
he doesn't have to because he's just I mean, he's throwing. This was like his. They put a stat up. This is like another like a long list of fights where he's landed 200 strikes because he's just constantly throwing, but eventually he gets caught, and it seems like it's happened in the last like 7 rounds he's fought. You know, I feel
Yeah,
for him.
and with Vera, I'm like, man, this is such a good performance, and you know,
Mhm.
Prillo was standing there and he's telling him like, dude, this is another slow start. You know,
Yeah,
he's telling him like
that's what he does.
because that first round, yeah, that's what he does, and
Yeah.
then right away he starts picking up the second round. So he
Mhm.
drops him, end of the second round, right, and it's like 15 seconds left. Font
Mhm.
survives. Drops him at the end of the third round. It's like 17 seconds left. Font
Yeah.
survives, hanging on for dear life, and
Mhm.
then drops him in that fourth. And there's
Yeah.
about a minute 34 or something like
Yeah,
that,
and I
close
was
to
like,
2 minutes
"Ooh."
left, and he stands there and just kicks his
Yeah.
legs while Font's on his back. And I thought Vera had an opportunity to finish this.
Yeah.
I really
Well
do.
well, I texted you guys that I was like, "Man, Cheeto is, like, simultaneously amazing to watch and an absolute killer, but at the same time kind of frustrating," because at the start of the 5th round, before they're starting, they're getting ready to go, people are leaving the octagon, right? Round's about to start, and Vera's standing in the center, and he's like tapping his wrist, like it's time, like like we're about to get you out of here, basically. And then with a minute left, just starts showboating and like dodging stuff, does a little dance, stands against the cage. 10 seconds left, just puts his hands up, starts walking away, and it's like, man, you could have got the finish, and you're standing there at the beginning, like, all right, time's up, and then you go there and waste a minute of the last minute of the round. It's just frustrating,
Oh
because
yeah,
he's so
100%
good.
agree, man. And then we take a look at, Corey Sandhagen, Jose Aldo, TJ
Yeah.
Dillashaw, Piotr Jan, all these killers that
Mhm.
are ranked higher than Rob Font. Dude, even if you take a look at Rob Balashvili, right? That I mean,
When is he
you
gonna
have some
fight? Where the hell is he?
you have some absolute killers in front of you, and you have an opportunity to put a stamp on this
Yeah.
victory against a number 5 ranked
Mhm.
bantamweight,
Yeah.
and you take
Burst
your
into the
foot
top
off the
5.
gas.
Yeah. And it's just frustrating. I get it, man. He's exhausted too. I mean, he got punched like 300 times that fight. But at the same time, don't do the whole times up thing if you're not going to go for the kill for the entire round. It just seems kind
Yeah.
of weird.
And
And I'm
I
saying
would
that as a
love
big
to
Cheeto
figure out
fan.
though. Oh, same, same.
Yeah.
But I would love to figure out like where his head was at, right? Where again, Rafa on his back, he had just gotten dropped. You could tell he was so hurt, man, because it's one
Yeah.
of those where he got kicked in the face and he didn't collapse right away. He took a few steps back and then
Mhm.
like fell slowly because he was like,
Oh,
"Oh man,
and
I'm
that was like the
fucked
second
up."
time he's done that. Yeah. He did that
Yeah.
twice this fight.
So he's hurt, man. And it's like
Yeah.
where I would have loved to see that killer instinct at that point from Cheeto for him to
Like, get
just
back up, dude. I'll sidekick you again.
yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
right to the face.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
And instead, I think it was Herzog, was it?
Herzog
That
had
was
to
like,
stand him
"Hey,
up.
like, dude, you got to do something, or I'm gonna
Yeah.
stand him up, right?" And then sure enough, he was
And
like,
he did.
"Okay, dude, there's not enough
Yeah.
action." Herzog, by the
Yeah.
way, another phenomenal night for Herzog.
Great job. Yeah.
Another
Shout
great,
out
yeah.
For to Win MMA in
Ooh,
there.
he's on, huh?
Yeah,
Just
I know
saw
he's a
that.
big
Just
Cheeto
saw that.
Vera guy. How about this? Do you see the record that Cheeto Vera, uh, I guess, secured?
What was it?
Cheeto Vera's negative 112 significant strike differential. He had 159, and Rob Font had 271. Is the largest negative differential for a fighter to win by decision in UFC history.
Wow.
271 to 159, and 159 won. And that kind of goes to show you that like the stats aren't all that matters,
Yep.
because like it matters, like each
The
one is
damage,
can
dude.
be significantly different, you
The
know.
damage. The damage. I mean, let's see here. For the win MMA coming through, I felt like every round Cheeto had like the happy minute and made the most of it. Rob needs to take care of his weight cut issues, but besides that, I
Yeah,
don't feel like he lost that much stock. He brought it, man. And that's the thing with like
agreed.
with Rob Font, Calvin Cater, where
Hmm.
even on their losses, you're like, man, like
These
all,
guys
all
are
you
tough
could
as
really think about is
nails.
their toughness. All you
Yeah,
can think about is their toughness,
and
which
and
I
let's,
mean
dude,
might not be what you really want to be known for.
But I
like
mean,
somebody's like, oh,
it's not just the toughness, but the dude got dropped 3 times in a fight, but still landed 271 strikes. Like,
yep,
I mean, it just happened to be that Cheeto was the tougher guy, or not the tougher guy, but Cheeto was the better man this night. But that doesn't mean that Rob Font. I mean, most people, you hit them 271 times, they're gonna wilt to that. You know,
yep,
Cheeto just did a fantastic job of just not. He didn't. He could have gassed out if he tried to go shot for shot with Rob Font. I think if he stood there and tried to trade with him every time Rob Font came in, I think he would gas out because that's a pace, man. That's a crazy pace.
yeah.
He landed 271. What did he throw? I mean, let's see. He threw 516 strikes. That's fucking
Wow.
crazy. So if Cheeto's in there going toe to toe with him, like I think most people might, they're gonna gas out, and then Rob Font's just gonna carry away with it, you know. So it is what it is, man. Rob Font lost. He got dropped a few times, but the fact that he didn't go out in any of those moments, and he could have taken the easy way out, man. If he got dropped by that side kick and he went down, and Cheetos jumped in, and he'd give up his back, maybe get the choke.
That was
I
the
mean,
case at the end of the second round, the end of the third round. He could have
yeah,
very
he
easily
could have
been like,
taken
dude,
those
it's
easy
not my
ways.
night. It's
Yeah,
not my night. You
and
know?
he would have been fully justified in it. I would have done that shit, dude. He drops me with that jumping knee. I'd be like, "Fuck, dude, just choke me out quick. Like, get me out of here." You know what I mean? So I think
Oh
both
yeah,
their
for
stocks
sure.
go up, in my opinion.
No, agreed, agreed. So I'm very excited to see who Marlon Vera matches up against next. Rob Font has to fight back, right?
He's gonna have to fight down. It's 2 losses now. I mean, he fought down for this one. You know,
Yeah,
Toasty calling out your cut. I'm assuming your haircut. Um,
yeah, man. Thanks, appreciate you, Toasty, my
yeah,
guy.
but
I don't know if I'd call this a haircut, more like a head shave. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
either way, appreciate you, my guy.
I think if I'm Rob Font, I'm taking some time. Right, that was a pretty bad one. Um, he was 5. He just lost to 8. Maybe Rob Font versus
Song
either.
Yadong,
No, dude, no.
give
I
him
would not
Song
take that
Yadong.
fight. Sung Dong, hell no. I would say like
He's a
Pedro
killer,
Munoz
dude.
or Ricky Simone. If I'm
Ooh,
Rob
that's a
Font, I'm taking one of those.
big fight back. You think so?
I mean, he just lost to 8.
Yeah,
The only people that's below, I mean, if he goes to 9, Song Yadong, but I mean, do they have Song Yadong and Pedro Munoz both at 9?
that's interesting, huh?
Yeah, Munoz is 10, but I would say
Yeah,
Pedro Munoz. That's what I would try to get if I'm Rob
Pedro Mooney is
Font.
9.1. You know, so
9.1. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, there we go. All right.
For the win, calling out Cheeto's cardio, uh, saying Cheeto's cardio was great, but also I loved how composed he was at times. Maybe he held back at times, but I feel it served a purpose. Definitely at the start of each round, he's
Yeah.
weathering the storm a bit and looking for that moment.
Well, that
For me,
was
holding
Cheeto's
back to the
28th
last
fight.
minute. Oh, I mean, he's been in there, man. Dude's a
Yeah,
dog.
so he's super experienced.
I mean, he also went. Did he go? He went all. He went to decision against Aldo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's experience. You
And
know.
you remember that last round against Aldo too?
Yeah. Well, because that's the thing. He always kind of starts slow, right?
Yeah.
Um, eh, he's like he's kind of like Piotr Jan, but instead, because they both have the high guard, right? Excellent defense.
Just
Except,
downloading.
yeah, it's like Chito Vera is like Piotr Jan with kicks. Piotr Jan is like Chito Vera with punches. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like his boxing is much better than Cheeto's, but Cheeto's kicking is fucking crazy, man. His kick game is very good.
The spinning heel kick?
Yeah, I mean, you tell
Money.
he was trying to get that trying to get a highlight reel knockout with that one a couple times.
Yeah. Yeah, he went
Reaching
to it
for
a
it a little bit.
couple too many times, yeah. But dude, either
Yeah.
way, it was a good performance from Chito Vera. All right.
Yeah, I think so. But real quick, so
Yeah.
if Rob Font's going down and fighting someone like Pedro Munoz, Ricky Simone, Toasty's calling out Sean O'Malley versus Rob Font. I don't think Sean O'Malley takes that fight. Who does Cheeto get? Because Cheeto's calling out Aldo. Aldo's calling out Aljamain. Did you give him Aldo for the rematch? If I'm Cheeto, I'm not trying to get that rematch.
No, I'm not either.
I'm calling for like Sanhagen.
Sanhagen, maybe? Yeah.
Or even Piotr Jan, dude.
Why not? Shoot for the
Because
stars.
dude, in my opinion, you lose a title fight as a champion or a challenger, you got to jump back. You can't fight
Yeah.
number 2 or 3 next. You have to jump back a little bit and let's move the new guys in. So if I'm Piotr Jan, or if I'm the UFC, maybe I do Piotr Jan versus Chito Vera. Chito Vera just cracked the top 5. Let's
Shoot
do
for
it.
the stars, Vera. And if you don't land there, you land on the moon, my man. You know what I mean?
You land on Corey Sandhagen.
Exactly. All right. Anything else on that? The main event?
No, fantastic fight though. Goddamn.